Welcome to Film Study, an all-American podcast with Lexi. I'm Lexi, and Monda, Carmen, and I are back with part 6 of Spencer and Olivia's communication. So this time we're talking about episodes 16 to 17 of season 4 this past season. Hope you all enjoy it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, all of those things, and give us your thoughts in the comments. Give us your thoughts in the comments on what you hear from us, and what you liked, what you don't like, what you disagree with, what you agree with. We love talking to y'all in the comments because we share our perspective. We'd love to hear yours as well. And yeah. Hope you enjoy it. Now on to 16. 16. I'm not even.
I don't know if I like the little laugh, but okay. What y'all got? Go ahead.
I'm not even gonna hold y'all. This intro scene bothered me a little bit. I'm gonna be honest. It bothered me a little bit.
And my Spencer words, elaborate.
Yeah, I'm about to elaborate.
Go ahead.
Spencer's working on his brand. He's like blah blah blah, something team player. I don't remember what he said, but he said some stuff.
Team player.
Right. Threw out some names, and she actually guessed it right. She was like, words that describe Spencer James, blah blah blah. She ends up giving him advice and saying like those are sort of kind of general names. But listen, babe, like you are special. She literally tells him, "You are special." And even though I can't continue this conversation right now, let's talk about your brand tonight. Like, I can't talk right now. I got to go to work, but let's talk about your brand tonight. She also mentions that he's different from Wade.
Describes Wade.
Right. Describes Wade.
School, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Again, as supportive and, we don't have to agree on everything, and et cetera, that Spencer says. And it's really good that he says that. He didn't even once ask Olivia about how her work was going.
Not at all. He also said
and that is the part that bothered me.
You want me to tell you what's also I found quite interesting? I don't know if it bothered me, but I found it interesting. He said, you have someplace more important to be?
I didn't even catch.
Listen, I caught that, right? Right. And that how we just discussed how he has things that is bothering him, but he doesn't say it. So I was like, was that a introduction or a laying the foundations of something he's gonna have a problem with? Because she says, is right after she says, I gotta go. Let's finish this tomorrow. Let's finish this later. And he goes,
tonight. She gives him a time.
Yeah, she said, let's talk tonight. Okay, all right, Lexi.
No, I'm agreeing. I'm agreeing for you. I'm just telling you what she's again, sorry, because I was honest and said that it bothered me, not on Liv's end, but because it was just like she's number one working on her own thing. You came after, thinking about this for an hour, you came. And she was supportive. She sat there, she listened, she helped you, she gave you advice. And as she should, right? Literally is telling you're special and trying to encourage you.
And so go back, Carmen. You said so he was talking about it? No, I was just, because you was talking, I was just saying, that made me wonder if they was laying the groundwork for something that was going to come out later.
They were, because he was only concerned about himself.
Here's the deal. Because her next statement was, he says, do you have something more important to me? And then she said, I just have to go to the office to work. Mm-hmm. That was laying the foundation for what was going to be for the rest of the episodes. Which also is legitimately, though, is going to be who they are moving forward outside of like 4, 5, 6, whatever series they have, and whatever everybody else envisioned for the rest of their life. It's going to be how they position each other in their lives when one needs the other, basically. And are they paying attention to the cues? Spencer, for some reason, wanted her to sit there and talk to him at that moment. But he was gone for an hour.
About his brand.
Yeah, his brand.
About his brand.
And mind you got the Vita on your brand.
And that's what it was like, the reciprocity of that. Like you're not even how's your work going?
even though I 100% understand the charge that you guys are putting on him when it comes to this, and he does deserve it.
It's not a charge. I'm just saying
Oh
it
my
bothers me
God, it's
personally.
a
I'm not
charge.
charging anything. I don't think it's a
Listen,
charge, but go
how it's
ahead.
a charge. You saying you didn't even ask her about her work day. That's a charge. That's like saying, it's a charge. Don't.
Okay,
It's
go
Okay,
ahead.
go ahead,
But
Twin.
I also want to point out that he was selfish that whole day with even when he was talking to Coop or he was talking to Dylan, and even Coop was like, "Did you just make that about you?"
Yeah,
You know,
he was selfish the
like
whole
the
day to
whole
everybody.
day.
It didn't matter who it was, everybody was catching it.
He wanted everybody to just stop and help him,
And
even
focus on
Dylan,
him.
Dylan.
Yes.
Prime real estate, bro. What are you? It's a fridge. Get out of here. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Like, it's like legit.
Mind you, Dylan had a whole
went-
freaking booth at the art festival. And you're talking about the fridge is prime really. I'm sorry. Let me shut up. Let me shut up.
I appreciate you saying that. It was like literally Spencer selfish episode. Like he
the whole day.
the whole
It was. No, it's correct. It's correct.
Everybody. And so the first person to catch his selfishness was the woman who was there with him.
Who he expect the first person he expected to be there for him the most. And then okay, let me go. Then he went to his best friend, Coop. Then he went to his little brother.
He just went everywhere.
Stop.
To get validation.
Literally just hopping around to people. Yeah. And I think this is important too. Is this was all before he even found out that she was doing the article on Wade.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That it had shifted angles. So anyway, also what happens in this episode, obviously, Wade finds out about like the NIL article because she's been working on it, maybe asking around, etc., etc. Jordan, it really gets to Jordan. We all know the la la la.
That was the best scene ever.
But then Jordan himself became sort of preoccupied for the rest of the episode.
Whatever.
I'm done. Go ahead. We on Olivia.
But no. I'm not. Yeah,
I'm just messing with you. Go ahead.
Liv goes to talk to Laura after that, and again, like I said, I'm going to point out the people because I think it's important. I'm going to point out the people who, when Liv said, "I'm going to drop the article," or "I want to drop the article," because again, episode 16, we get the same thing of Liv saying like, "Jordan's right. This is affecting both him and Spencer." And I don't think before I do it, and he brought up when I released the footage, etc., etc. So Laura tells her, if your gut is telling you to do this story, then stick with it, even if it means ruffling some feathers. Jordan can't stay mean mug forever.
Yeah, because she calls Jordan a mean bug.
MMJ. But and so again, Liv is within herself and like vocally to other people saying, maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe this is impacting the people around me, and like because it's impacting them, maybe I shouldn't do this. And there are specific people that are just like, no, you need to trust your instincts. You need to follow your gut.
Mm-hmm. And the people who love and care about her, who knows her, and knows this is a passion of hers, and so they're encouraging.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
So anyway, Laura has that talk with her. She talks to Spencer later. And then they have this whole conversation about, oh, why didn't you tell me about the Wade thing? She thought he would be upset. And then we get this whole like, which means.
Though he said he didn't want to know. She said you said you didn't want to know about certain things,
right?
So she said that
listen, I'm so glad that you stopped there, because when did he say that?
On our screen.
I assume if she said it, he said it at some point.
He said it. Unfortunately, he said it off screen.
Because what she said was, you told me to keep you out of it.
And he's never said it on screen. So on screen.
Wait. So the rewatch for me today, right? From my understanding was she's referring to when she asked him to be the face, and he didn't want no part of it.
No.
I don't think that's what she was referring. If anything, I think that she was referring to. I think that she was referring to that snack break that they had If it was something that wasn't like
That
off
happened on
screen
our
bill,
screen. It had to happen
Yeah,
off the
but
screen then.
it happened. Unfortunately, the sandbox that I don't want to play in, the writers played in it, and they brought it on screen when Liv made her comment.
right. But I do think that it wasn't nothing that we had seen on our screen, because Carmen, you're referring to when he said he doesn't want to be the face. I was thinking of a time when they were talking about it at the benches at the lunch, and she had to rush off to the library because he still didn't see it. It was still, to me, that was a moment as well where he was just like,
Oh yeah, he said, "Let me
okay,
stay out
I'm
of
outside.
this. Let me stay in
But
my
Yeah,
but
he was
lane."
like, I'm gonna mind my
yeah,
he said, I'm gonna mind my
Mhm.
business. Yeah.
but that's because he kept trying to give input, and he realized like, okay, nah, okay, you know what? Should I just mind my business?
He only
Okay.
tried to give input with David. He just said,
But
no,
Davita.
no,
listen to Davita.
but that's what I'm saying. That's when he put back. You know what? I'm just gonna stay out of this because he was trying to advise her to talk to Davita. I think that's her name, Davita,
Well,
whatever her name.
whatever,
Right.
however she collectively got it.
So it had to be off our screen
Yeah,
because
it had to be.
Well,
anything on our
I
screen.
think it was a I don't
I
think
think
it
it
was
was
just like,
collective.
I think it was a collective thing.
I think it was a collective thing. We're never gonna know because these writers don't
Yeah, because
put.
we can't. That's what I'm
They
saying.
never
If it's
put
off the
one
screen,
plus one
then
together. They like to put
But
1 + 9
but
= 20.
here's the part of the episode where I do defend the writers is,
Oh my god!
again, I think it's a collection of moments. I think it's a
because
collection of
her
moments.
exact words was, "You told me to keep you out of it." So that's not was like from on our screen. The only time he said he didn't want to be a part of it is when she asked him to be the face. So that's where I got that from because on a screen, the only time he told her he didn't want to be a part of it was when she wanted him to be the face.
I can see that. I can see
And
that.
he also said that he didn't really agree with what her perspective was,
Yeah,
earlier.
earlier on.
And so again, I'm saying, like, yes, that was a moment, and I think it was like, I don't think it's pinpointing to one moment. I think it's pinpointing to a few moments that they've had.
Okay, so
Anyway, regardless, go ahead, Carmen. I mean, Monda.
we're at that point, right? It's that conversation of you wanted to stay out of it, and so here's the interesting part. Spencer's like, just tell me what's going on, and I will support you 100%. And I'm gonna say,
What, can we get, before we even get to that though?
Wait, no, let her get it out. We stopped already.
no, go ahead,
No,
Lexi. Go.
no, because I think it's important, because I think the which means is really important, because ultimately he said which means, which means, which means. There was like two or three which means, and so she finally said, I was wrong and you're the best. And that's when the which means stopped. And I just think that's important to I think that's important to note, is that essentially she had to admit to him, and again, this is my perspective, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but essentially she had to admit to him, I was wrong and you were right, for them to like move forward in the conversation.
You know what? I'm gonna take that for a second. I'm gonna expand that a little bit. I think the which means is that he was also trying to say that I will support you.
Yeah, absolutely.
No matter what. And
but I'm not. But I do think it's funny that it was. I was wrong.
He goes, okay. Yeah, the I was wrong and you were right is very,
because I think that's because it's like, for me, it's this idea of someone like being like, not to say I told you so.
It wasn't I told you so moment.
I don't think it was I told you so.
Like, it's like I told you so, or I'm confirming, or I'm also I'm here to reaffirm that no matter what.
But you have to start with what she said first. Was, I know how your temper is, right? That was her defense.
You're right.
Of why she hadn't told him. So I feel like
she made an
was
assumption. She made an assumption.
Yes, I feel like it was more because remember, I don't know if it was earlier this episode or the episode before. She apologized also for something similar, and then that's what she said. Did you just kiss me because I say you right? And he's like,
that was
no,
the end of 16.
See, okay,
yeah.
In the 15, I'm sorry.
I didn't even bring that one up.
Yep, in the 15.
So it was like she keep having these moments where she assumes something. What happened in 16? I can't remember what happened.
In 15, we're in 16 now. At the end of 15,
well, in 15,
with the Vita thing,
what?
and she
in 16, it was that Wade found out about the article, and he came to Spencer.
15 is when they were talking about the NIL article and then the different perspectives in there.
Oh, okay. So it was
again,
like
so it's not. But what I'm saying is, it's not just her being like, "Oh, he wants to be right." It was literally her saying, "I was wrong, and you're the best."
Right. The thing is here's a pattern that happens, and I'm gonna tell y'all, this audience, Carmen ain't gonna never want to see it. Is that I'm gonna call my twin out on this one?
Because I think it's important, because what we get to in 20 is that she has felt like it's been a string of wrongs.
Yes, a string of wrongs for her. Her apologizing,
which is why I'm emphasizing
with him. He's right, she's wrong. She's doubting her instincts because he's right multiple times, and so she's not diverting and being herself. But that's what we're gonna come back to that. We're gonna put a
we're gonna get there, but I just wanted to point it out so that we can get there.
Yes.
Sound interesting. But go ahead.
How is it interesting? It's literally, that's her argument.
Because this is what it is, right? So, audience,
go ahead.
Poor Carmen is just sitting up having discussion episode based off episode, while Monda and Alexis is building a case for certain points. But go ahead.
Hold on, no, we're gonna nip this in the bud right quick, because I said, Carmen, we're going to be talking about these episodes in succession, because we're talking about the last half of the season, and be prepared.
Okay, and that's okay.
And here's another thing, audience. Carmen, who won't tell you this, and
she liked to trick y'all into believing that we gang up on her.
She does remember a lot of things. So then everything is a build-up. Everything has always been a build-up. The words have been a build-up. But see, she's like, as she said before the podcast, she likes to selectively remember things.
There you go.
To build her argument. Well, Lexi and I are like, this was what they said.
And even when I admit I was wrong, because I'm like, Spencer talked about her career more than I thought he did.
Yes. We were like, this is the exact words. And Carmen was like, did they really say this?
Right. Right. But you were saying something about that before.
In real time, and who we are collectively.
But audience, what did they just say have anything to do with what I just said? But okay, go ahead, Monda.
Oh my gosh. Go ahead, Monda.
I'm going to be very honest. I'm not building a case. I'm actually unpacking every episode.
Yeah, I'm not trying.
We're not building a case. Because Liv, I got some stuff to talk about her in the other episodes.
Ooh,
I'm so not yes. Baby, my fictional baby sister go get it from me. So no, I'm not building the case. I'm unpacking things as we move along. But go ahead.
Right. No, you were saying something.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry about that. It's interesting because like I said, at the time he wants her to like reassure her, like, you can tell me what's going to happen and everything, and I will support you. I'm not going to react like Jordan. That is key.
Yeah, when you're going to learn that I always got your back, no matter what. I
always got your back, and I'm not going to react.
I just need to know what's going on.
By the way, I'm going to say this right now. Liv, being an investigative reporter, cannot tell Spencer everything that's going on.
Yes, okay, because we going to talk about that for 22.
Yeah, she can't do it.
She can't tell him everything, but we gotta put a pin on some of the stuff because we're gonna come back. But yeah, so when you're gonna learn that I got your back no matter what, I just need to know what's going on, and then they have a conversation about Jordan that shifts into Dylan, leading into like him, talking to Dylan about his brand.
And they were supposed to have Liv talk to Jordan, but yet we never saw what Liv was going to do for Jordan. That's a pet peeve of mine at the end of that episode. That's a whole nother issue.
But then to that point, she gets the notification about the Yard Yak post.
Yeah, Noah
and he, right, and he's like, "What's going on?" And she's like, "Nothing, just ruffling a few feathers."
Can I say this right now? I agreed with Liv not telling him about that page. I agree with her.
Oh, I do too. Will we? Is it this? Yeah. No, it's not. When we get to 18, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. So just so you know.
But in between 416 and 420, I think it's important to note the passage of time here. So really, after 416, because we get like 417, and they're in a spot that they haven't been because there's been this like passage of time from 416 to 417. Jordan has like been to Brinkston. Jordan's come back from Brinkston, etc., etc. So there's been a couple of weeks that have passed, and I just want to note it here is that so by the time we get to 420, it's been several weeks, maybe about 2 months that have passed from the ending of 416 to
which
the
helps
to
people to
420.
understand why some people, when Liv says this back and forth for months and weeks,
Yeah,
have been a lot, and people not understanding the time. But yeah,
right,
help.
right. Yeah. So 417, 417, they have their all day snack break. I
Yeah,
didn't know it was called that until I just rewatched that. I did not
yep,
know they called it that. It's cute. But they were supposed to talk about no football, no work, which is, by the way, Liv suggested that.
correct.
I didn't catch that either. But we know the picnic date was awkward.
Very.
Very
Very
awkward.
awkward.
It's very
All about
awkward.
a coffee and
Oat
a was
milk and a
a
snack,
donut or
sugar
what?
snack.
Yes.
The sugary snack. So we know about that. We know about that. And they get back and they're talking about, oh, is it weird that we like, didn't have anything to talk about? And it was just like, oh, whatever. Da 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 da. Then the subject of her having work friends
Yeah, she was
over
hosting the happy
comes up.
hour.
She's hosting. And he's just like, oh, did you not want to invite me to this? Did you
She
think,
didn't.
She didn't, because she knew he was
She didn't,
not
and for
going to
good
enjoy
reason.
it.
Her
For
face,
good reason.
Yeah,
her face after, I was like, oh, if you didn't.
see, but it was in the
And
moment
he
at
said, and
first.
here's the thing, and here again, what we say is Spencer not necessarily being honest all the time and not knowing how to maybe his honesty comes through more clearly when he's angry, because he says this: anything involving you, I'm interested in. I literally the it was a lie. It was all a lie. The liar from like
Listen,
from Legally
listen.
Blonde, like all of it. It was a lie.
I I would have I would have preferred him to say anything that you want my support in. I got you.
Yes,
Thank you,
there you go.
Carmen.
Because
Thank you.
be a relationship, like, you gotta be crazy if you
Right,
think everything that your spouse do you interested in.
right,
No, some
Yeah.
things you just do out of support. I
right.
don't care. Don't think about this. But you want me to go? Let's go.
It was
I
it,
prefer him to say that.
And
it was
that's the thing, is
interesting.
because he was sitting at the table like, why am
Bored.
I
Yeah,
here?
but what's interesting is that what
Lost.
I always like to say is, audience, pay attention to the flowery words and really like what's actually about to happen, because they're like, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, he's amazing for saying. I'm like, y'all, nah.
He says grand things.
He says great things, but that ain't true.
Right. Back to my point about when we're talking about the pros and cons. He really tries. He
Yep,
tries his hardest to be supportive. I genuinely think that's
he
true.
does.
Is he always supportive in his actions? No, I
No,
don't think that's true.
and that's okay.
Um, and that's
But
okay. He's
but you know what's
like 18.
but
Yeah,
you know what's crazy though? This is what's crazy, right? The thing that Liv asks for him to be, for his opinion, or asks for his interest in, he doesn't give the way he's supposed to.
thank
But
you.
she never
Ooh.
told him, but she never told him, I want you to care about what I do with my coworkers. I
Yeah,
want you to care about
right.
when we hang, like, he never, like, that was
Literally.
just like,
Can we
that
talk
was
about
just,
can
Let's
we
talk
park
about that.
here?
Let's unpack that, twin.
I know y'all let
Can
me
we
finish.
park here?
Okay, go ahead,
Sorry.
twin.
I'm
Go ahead,
sorry
twin. I'm
because
sorry.
go ahead.
Go, twin.
It was just like, it was like, once again, what Munda pointed out at the beginning of the podcast was that it's like he processed stuff too fast sometimes. So after realizing during the picnic that they didn't really have much to talk about, it was like, how can we fix this? Like,
Mm-hmm.
right then and there, in a moment, how can we fix this? I'm gonna go with you. in a place that I normally wouldn't. And it was like,
Yeah.
why?
And so here's my thing is because I, even though I agree in a sense, and it was like very much in our face, and Carmen, we've talked about this and we might disagree on this, but even though it was very much in our face that he was selfish in the previous episode, I actually think that he was a little bit more selfish in terms of his relationship with Liv in this episode than
Oh yeah,
416.
we're gonna
And I
disagree.
will
Go ahead.
Go
I
ahead
know
though.
you disagree, but I'm gonna explain why. Because he, number one, in essence, like invited himself
He did.
to her work party
Mm-hmm.
just to sit there, not enjoy himself, excuse himself from the table when everybody else is having a good time, hide out in her room. She's the host of this.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Stahl, her boss, was supposed to be the host of this. So this is not like just some like meh, 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 like not a big deal because their boss was going to host this get together. And so she's the host of this thing. He excuses himself to her room so much so that she has to leave and go check on him.
It's two things.
And
She
then
went to go check
two
on him, but there's a big GAU fan coworker that came, and she
right,
wanted
there's a big
Mm-hmm.
GAU fan
yep,
Mm-hmm.
that she was coming to get
to
to
connect with
get
him.
him to
Yep.
introduce them. Yeah, introduce them. And he chooses this moment to be like,
Mm-hmm.
Jazz, oat milk? And this is why I'm saying, because to your point, Carmen, these are not things that she's asking him to care about. In fact, she was just like, this is just trivia. She literally said it out of her mouth.
She said, "I
This
spend more
is
time
just
with them, so of course, they know that."
Mm-mm.
right. And this is just trivia. And to that point about holds out her hand. He literally looks at her hand and was just like, I'm not taking it.
Right. Right.
And essentially creates this big thing for the two of them about the fact that he didn't know this thing. Now, mind you, he wasn't even supposed to be at the party in the first place. It's fine that he was there, but he wasn't even supposed to be at the party in the first place. And then it's just like, you know what? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go because I don't want to ruin your party.
But you
So
have
you
already.
don't think that they're gonna ask her, where's Spencer? I know he's been gone a long time. What?
Particularly
Oh,
the
he's
person who's a
gone.
fan of GAU, the one she particularly went to go get him for. And he just left her in
And so
her room with the
he
feeling.
just left her in her room in her feelings after saying like you don't think it's something's off, like starting to grow apart off. And to our points earlier at the top of this conversation about he just doesn't sometimes take a beat and is just like not thinking maybe this is not the best time or
Right.
place
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
talk about these things. And that is why I think that he was selfish, because we know we know how difficult it's been for Olivia, especially all the way from season one on to now, to
Fine
connect, and how
friends.
much she cares about this job. And to see her finally with friends and people that she's connecting
Outside of
with
the
at work
vortex.
after struggling,
Mm-hmm.
and
That
you're doing this right now.
that's one of his, but that's why it was on one of his flaws list because
I
it's
know, I
not.
know. I
Yeah,
just
but that's what I'm
obviously
saying.
I've
It's
been
not.
holding that in for a while.
It's not, and the reason why it's such on his flaw list because it's not something he just do with Olivia. Like for example, the minute he found out Coach told Asher to keep going through, he showed up at Coach house. Like
How
Right.
dare you
he
tell Coach?
In
no,
this very same episode.
he
In
had
this very same episode.
yes, he like everything is immediately. Like you have to talk about it immediately. You have to do it like Spencer. Everything is. I understand you hurt, you and your feelings, but you have to realize like everything don't stop because you and your feelings. The world don't stop to talk about. Like you have to pick a better time. You have to.
Yeah.
You have to. And that was
Right.
not the time. That really was. And you decided you wanted to come to be a part of her world. Sit, smile, and then deal with it after.
Deal with it after everybody's gone. So anyway, yeah, I know I went on a rant on that, but it's literally because, again, this is where my love for Olivia does come through very clear, is that it just for everything that that meant for her in that moment. And that is why I think that it was, to your point, he doesn't just do this to her, but this was like glaring. Like, are you seriously doing this right now?
What's interesting is at that point too. This is where Liv was accepting change, and Liv was horrible at accepting change.
Yes,
and
yes.
she was accepting the changes in her life, and we're getting to see that growth in her and everything. And you're like, are you? Come on now, just wait a little bit longer, wait a little bit longer for it, and it'll be okay. I said, because this is the one thing that we as Liv fans have been waiting
Right.
for. And we were like, are you serious? Like, you gonna make an enemy out of me in this 2 seconds. I'm just trying to be real.
Out of you?
Yeah.
Who gonna wait. Spencer was gonna make an enemy out of you. Okay, we're gonna leave that right there.
We're gonna leave that right there. Let's not start unpacking that. Let's not. But go ahead.
Oh, but because like, yes, he could have handled it better. But the only reason I would not put the selfish label on it, because the way he was processing that whole day was, he didn't know Liv as well as he thought he did. It was never, even when he was like,
go ahead.
Anyways, how can you deny it when at the end of the episode he's literally?
I just said sure.
She said sure.
Look, you just said sure. Okay, yeah, okay. But how?
What more
like,
do you want from me?
Like, even when he was like, I don't even know this stuff about you. Not once did he say, you don't know things about me. It always was what he didn't know about her.
And I think that's when we get that it's more complex than and that's why I said it was more on the nose in 416, how he was being selfish, because it was all about him. But I don't think his actions in 417 make it any less selfish, because it wasn't directly about, because he wasn't saying like, oh, this is about me and you don't know things about me, because it was in his actions. Like, I now feel like I feel this distance, so now I'm going to make a big deal about this distance, even though Liv is like, well, yeah.
But that's the thing. It was a big deal to him, because he felt he did not know his woman like he thought he did,
which is understandable.
Yes, he realized that. Oh my God, we really the time,
and
is
that's
really
fine. That's fine.
It
is completely completely understandable. But that still doesn't. I don't think that changes the fact that it was, to me, selfish.
Okay, well, we're gonna agree to disagree, like we've been doing for the last 10 weeks.
Can I add something to this though? In this whole
conversation, of course,
conversation between two of you, whether it was selfish or not selfish, however you two see it or the audience see it, it was also that Spencer was at an uncomfortable spot in his relationship with Liv that he did not feel good about. He with Liv, he always wants to be in the know. He wants to know that this is good. There's no shaky ground for him. And that has a lot to do with some abandonment issues and a lot to do with his mom.
I was just going to say that. And then,
absolutely.
And unpack, but I got a lot to talk about Gracie and his abandonment issues, but that's a whole other issue.
Whole other podcast.
Can we skip to Liv's face as she's talking to Billy? It looks so. I didn't even notice the amount of hurt on her face in that scene until I just rewatched it, but Sam be acting down with the facial expressions, but
everything
she does. It was very, and she was just like, we're busier than we've ever been, and it's causing this weird disconnect between us that we just can't shake. And again, this isn't about the article. It's just about the ways in which they are knowing each other. So it's funny because it took a break from article drama, and it was literally just about them. So then he does the whole meeting Olivia Baker 2.0. And again, which is why I say that it was a little selfish. Because yes, again, it wasn't that, oh, you don't know these things about me, but it's the fact that she had to say, like, I love you and I'm not going anywhere, Spencer, because it was so connected to his abandonment issues. And she was just like, okay, let's ride the growth wave together. And so he asked her a lot of questions. Incidentally, none of those questions were about
He asked her a
what's
lot. He
going
asked her
on.
about 3 questions.
Right.
Or sure, he asked her 3 questions. Incidentally, none of those questions were about her career.
But they was the 3 basic questions. Like if you was to fill out something about yourself, it would be the start.
I agree. They were incredibly basic.
But here's the deal, though.
But it was only 3. Go ahead.
I'm going to actually advocate for Spencer in this moment because this is connected to my fanfic and everything. Spencer's like, I want to know Olivia 2.0, but he was like, I'm going to start from the beginning. Let me start from the beginning and let me not assume anything. Because that's what she's like. Are you serious? You know my name. Like
her name,
all this stuff. And he goes, I want to know you. So I want you to tell me who you are, not who I think you are. What is this? Because he goes, what's your favorite color?
That's a great way to look at it, yeah.
And then she said, and he goes, what's your favorite food? She's like, anything on your plate. Because everybody knows a little loves to eat. So, and for him to ask all this, I wish they would have shown more questions.
Definitely.
Me too. I wish they would have shown some questions about her career.
And that's what I'm saying, Lexi. I said and I think it would have probably led to like why she likes her friends or whatever in her career. But because,
especially the jazz, yes.
Yeah,
like how
because they ended it where they did, it leaves on all these assumptions of did he or did he not, or what was the questions and why did he ask these certain questions or not.
I don't think it's supposed to been. I think it was left the way it was because it's supposed to just been like giving us a, it don't got to go super deep.
It didn't have to go super deep, but it also gave the audience.
It just gave us a foundation of them starting to, like this is the start of them grow. They growth.
Yep, their growth point. They're changing. They're moving in different directions. They're not who they were when we met them in season 1 or when they first told each other they love each other or they agreed to start dating. They're different.
I agree, and it's wonderful.
It's very
but
good.
The sarcastic in her voice, the sarcasm in her voice, I cannot deal.
I agree. The fact that I'm advocating for Spencer. I'm advocating.
We don't always agree. That's what makes
and I'm advocating for Spencer in this moment.
Lexi is like, I don't care how well you dress that cake up, the inside is
not happening. He's like, them roses still smell like boo boo. I don't care. Outcast, baby, Outcast.
Oh my gosh,
that's my favorite song.
But I do want to note this because Billy gave Spencer some important advice before he did go with the jazz. Which, by the way, I thought it was cute. Little say anything reference, loved it. Billy was just like, your friendships and relationships are going to change. And they're going to, like, it's going to be in a way that it hasn't seemed, keyword seemed, to you before. So again, talking about Spencer in his perspective and saying, like, just because relationships aren't looking, because he was going through his whole thing with Asher in this episode as well, but just because your relations aren't looking like they used to you, doesn't mean that it's inherently bad,
right.
or that you can't be friends, or that and I'm gonna or that it's
go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh no, and then he just ended on like being an adult. So go ahead.
I would say it's going back to, he also needs to be okay with being in the uncomfortable moments of the relationship.
Yeah.
And he does not like the ambiguous. He wants to be like, I need to know. It needs to be solid right now. But you gotta be now.
So Liv, well, it's kind of similar. Him and Liv with the change. They don't do well with change. They don't do well.
Yeah, I was about to say, he don't do well with change either.
He don't. Yeah, they are so similar.
They're so similar, which is funny how they end up dating each other. But go ahead.
But yeah, so they end that on that. Moving on to 418. Thanks for listening to Film Study, an All-American podcast. Stay tuned for the next installment of many more on Spencer and Olivia.